Hey guys, hope everyone is ending the week green. I was actually really excited this morning, when I saw a lot of the WallStreetBets stocks like GameStop, AMC, COS. A lot of them were gapping up today pre-market, so I was looking forward to trading them and mostly longing on the dips. So it kind of turned out to be a slower day, and I got chopped up a little bit too. So ended the day with a small green. So let's go ahead and talk about the first stock I traded, which is actually GameStop. So I kind of been trying out on slower days to trade on the 5 minutes, and that worked out pretty well today. So you can see on GameStop, even though we gapped out to 200 pre-market, we kind of had a decent profit taking. And I was longing around the 192s, seeing if we're gonna reclaim VWAP and go back to highs. It did look kind of weak on the 5 minutes, and I was gonna get stopped out on the small size if it breaks previous day close, which it never touched. You can see this dotted line, that's the previous day close, also known as the red to green level. It never touched that, but it was also kind of weak at the open. So I did, stop out, break even pretty much. And I didn't go back long until we really reclaimed VWAP on the 5 minute. That I've been using the 5 minute chart for confirmation, just to make sure I'm not getting chopped up in a lot of these up and down action with a SPY the last few days. So you can see after VWAP reclaimed on the 5 minutes, that's where I got long, and I was selling pretty much into the pushes. I didn't think we're gonna go to 118 and 120s. So I missed a lot of the big moves, but at the same time, GameStop, the action today was a little bit strange because, like I said, it was so weak off the open, so I didn't have the conviction to hold it through that long. But at the same time, I also didn't short the stock. In hindsight, would have been a nice short around the 215s area. But while I only traded GameStop on the long side, the other stock that's also the WallStreetBets sector, AMC, I also was trading this one on 5 minutes. I did go long on the front side, and once you can see VWAP broke down around midday 10:30, 10:20s, that's why I flipped short. I was long over here for tiny bounce plays off the open. Very similar idea as GameStop. I longed some here around 11:20s, sold for like a quick 20-cent scalp, and then the better long would have been down here around I got some around 11.10 and then $11. By the time, like I said, it was so weak with GameStop. It really looked like they were gonna do this crack, red to green crack, and go red on the day. So that's why the second trade, I stopped up for a loss. There was midday where I thought we were gonna set up for another long again. I did get in, and I did lose again on the long trade. That's why I flipped short, realizing that there was a lot of selling around the 11:20s area. You can see we couldn't even break above 11:20s on the 5 minute. It stayed below VWAP the whole time, and that's where I started scaling in short. When trading these names that follow GameStop, really the entire WallStreetBets sector. If you look at GameStop, around this time, I guess 10:40 on GameStop, it's also when it started rolling over. Around, if you look at the chart, 10:40, around here, it's when it cracked VWAP for like the third time, and this time really flushed on the 5 minutes. So that's the reason I was scaling in AMC short. And once the red to green crack, that's what I started adding into the short play. So that's one advantage you have when you're trading these sector stocks. You can watch the leader of the sector and use the price action on the leader to kind of get a direction or like a feel for the followers. So that was something that we did for the NFT sectors with TCAT, OCG, ZKIN, a couple other names. But with the WallStreetBets sector, it's like its own little hype bubble. So it's like that's why you would trade this similarly, or at least I did, looking at the leader, what it's doing, what the price action is doing, and using that to trade the followers. So that's what I was doing, scalding around the 1090s. I didn't get a huge crack because I was thinking that if we flush, we can go to like $10 or 1010s, but we didn't get that. So I was covering the majority here around 1060s. My best cover was 1050s because it started holding and consolidating. So even though it did go 10 cents lower, It's just kind of holding around the 1050s area now. I'm all out of the short. AMC, overall I lost on the long side, but made money on the short side. But for GameStop, I made money on the long side. The other stock I traded also on the 5-minute, given a little bit of a choppy market we had, was DISCA, so Discovery Inc. And you can see this stock had multiple days of sell-off on the daily chart here, all the way from 70s down to 45s today. So that's a massive sell-off. But if you look at the stock, it took maybe a month to go from 45 all the way to 75, and it took 3 days to kind of fall back to where it came from a month ago. So this is why bulls, they take the stairs and bears take the window. But today I was looking to long off the reversal after this huge crack from 58 down to basically $43. I was looking at this stock on the 5 minutes again, given the choppy market condition. I do use 5 minutes to enter and exit like I did today. And historically speaking, I know in the past on Fridays is when I get chopped up the most, whether I'm long or short. So, switching to 5 minutes on days like this really helped me out a lot. So I was looking at the 5 minutes on DISCA. And if you look at a daily chart, there's some decent support around the lower $40, so like 43, 44s. And that's why the stock got bought back up around the 43s. And that's where I started getting interested in a long for the reversal. I was thinking that, if we long around the 45s, we can get a decent push to VWAP 48, 70s, and 49s. And then it just got super choppy. And I did start in long and I added more here around 46, 30s. That gave me an average about like 46, 31, something like that. Sold some into the push around 47s. And had a bad ad around here. I don't know if you can see the candle here. I added around 47s, thinking that we're going to get a big push towards 48, 49s, and potentially 50s. By the time the market was so choppy, I was looking at SPY and it was just like up and down, up and down. And there was a lot of panic selling. So, so unfortunately, even though I did take some profit around 47s, I got stopped out pretty much for break even around this point, 46.60s, and then over here $46. Remember, my average was 46.30s. So I got stopped out break even. After a small profit taking, I did go back in after seeing that, okay, no, I got stopped at the very bottom and we reclaimed. So I got in long, smaller size this time. And by this time I sold into the pushes around 48s. There was a chance I thought we were going to get a massive big move towards 49s, but looking at the market condition today, I don't think that's going to happen. So after I got out of 48, you can see the stock just like slowly drip back down to where it came from. A little bit difficult to trade today, like a very choppy market condition. Even though the hyped up sector, like the WallStreetBets or the NFT stocks, there was some interest in the stock and we were watching it, but it was definitely very choppy. Not a lot of range today. Yesterday, Riot, I was watching for the long because you can see this huge gap down from previous day close of like 46 down to pre-market 39s with the entire market selling off. So I was looking for the long to push back potentially towards previous day close. Now, even though I didn't get that far, you can see I started in very small. Pre-market when I'm trading long or short, it's always like super small size. And it's only after at the open we got a nice push above VWAP and strong volume candle. That's why I started in adding on the long side, 42s and then 43s, sold something in the push. I did get chopped up again over here. You can see a lot of these like stop out candles just to make sure I'm protecting my downside in case this is just like a quick rejection. We go back to the low of the day. So I did get stopped out here twice, and I did go back in again around the 40, 42, 41, 80s area. And it got some nice push towards the 43.50s and 44s. The thing with Riot is that not only does it trade with SPY, it also trade with BTC futures. So that's why, that's what gave it the range that it did. It was very volatile yesterday. And even though it did go all the way back to previous day close, 46 and even higher later on where I scalped a tiny short. But midday, was really choppy. You can see this wide range of upside to 44, slam back down to 41 and back to 44 and back to lows again. So that's why I didn't stay with it the whole day, even though the big move was to the long side towards the 46s and above. I think this whole week has been kind of a little bit strange, like very volatile, like up and down roller coaster in terms of the market conditions. So that's why it feels like a scalp week. I think it's hard to hold for the big move, whether you're long bias or short bias on days like these. So if you guys have any questions regarding trading in general, given that I haven't answered it 1,000 times, I'll answer them in these Q&A sections. Okay, so question from Raphael. He's asking, do you think it's better for a small account to be trading on 5 minutes and 15 minutes because he cannot handle the emotions on the 1 minute charts? I think that's a good idea to not use 1 minute charts when starting out new. I used to use a lot of 3 minutes and 5 minutes. I don't like to use 15 minutes because takes too long of a consolidation. So I think 5 minutes, 3 minutes are good ideas. I think the other one is for small accounts, I really don't recommend trading small cap low floats. But again, that's my opinion. Because on small cap low floats, even if you're using the 5 minutes, it still would look really random and very like up and down, and like especially if you're low float, the action could be like very manipulated. So that's why I still recommend like mid cap and large caps if you have a small account, and especially if you're new. So we have a second question from Jake. He's asking if I use stop loss on Dash Trader, and the answer is yes, absolutely. So I use mental stops when I'm in partial size, and hard stops when I'm in like half size or full size. But the thing with the people setting stops with a percentage is when you set percentage stops, you're kind of setting like arbitrary numbers. The stops need to make sense according to the setup. Let's say if I'm long, then my stops are below, key support levels. If I'm short, the stops are usually at high of the day or key resistance levels. So I don't use percentage stops. I use actually like price level stops, and I'll adjust the share sizes I take according to how much per share, like how many cents or how much dollar per share I have to risk. So I don't use those percentage stops because a lot of times that's how you get stopped out right at the bottom. So that's my thoughts on that. I think you should be varying your share sizes according to how much you have to risk, instead of using, let's say, a set 5% stop for every single stock you take. And especially when you're trading some of the large cap names, if a stock is gonna move like $1, $2, $5, you can't set stops for 10 cents. Right? And the same idea as the low float small cap stocks, because they move so volatilely, you can't really just risk 5 cents. You have to risk according to their range of the stock and actual levels. So you can't just say, 1,000 shares for every single kind of stock. That's what I mean by risking and sizing according to your risk levels. Now, the third comment is from Andre. So actually, it's not a question, but a request to move kind of like my bottom window, blocking the volume. I've been seeing a lot of those requests, and that's why this time around, I am changing the layout of my screen in order for everyone to see the volume bars. So thank you for suggesting that. So a little bit of a choppy action this week. Hope everyone stayed safe. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and the bad jokes. If you want to see more day trading content, make sure to subscribe and follow me on Twitter and Instagram for more. If you'd like to trade with me daily and get my free weekend watch list and trading journal, make sure to check out the links below for more resources. Stay green, stay positive, and I'll see you guys next time.